Okay, so question from Jessica. Her question is, what are some important points to include in our contracts that we might not think at first?
Oh, well, I'm glad that you asked that question because contracts are really important and not everyone knows that when they're starting out. And so this is another IAPWO benefit. So we actually have, I worked personally paying thousands of dollars because those expensive lawyers cost like $500 an hour. Spent thousands of dollars having a really solid officiant contract written. And then what I did was I worked with a woman named Annette, and her company is called Your Legal BFF. And her and I worked together, she is an attorney, to then take what I already had and to create a template that officiants could use that had no idea what to put in it or what are the specific clauses. Because if you go to most attorneys, they don't necessarily know the ins and outs of the officiant business. So that's another benefit of IAPWO, and that one of the benefits to the association, there's like a whole member page of all of these different kinds of discounts that you get. And one of them is discounted access to that contract. But anyone could go purchase it. You could go to Your Legal BFF. And contracts should always be reviewed by someone in your state. So an attorney in your state, even if you got one of those, I would say, well, find someone who doesn't have to do the work, but could review it, because new clauses get added all the time. For example, a new clause that recently we've talked about adding on the advice of an attorney was a firearms clause. So I don't know if you saw the story of the non-professional wedding officiant who, in an attempt to get people's attention at the wedding to let them know the ceremony was starting, fired blanks out of a gun and then shot his grandson and was criminally charged. And, while you might think like, well, I'm never going to be bringing a gun to my wedding ceremony when I officiate, it did bring up some questions about like, well, what are your policies around that? Are you going to have something in your contract about whether or not you're okay with there being firearms at the event? And in some states, the open carry states, it's going to be different everywhere. But these are some of the things we may not think about, and why it's really great to have other officiants that you're able to communicate with who've done these contracts to be able to say, well, here's an interesting one that I've recently added. So again, just the benefit of community and relationships with other officiants, I think, is important there too.